Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Let's go ahead and kind of get into this and look at the markets a little bit different way here and keep with some of the special trainings I've been doing publicly and privately here recently, bringing some of these things together. So, as we take a look at this, it's really important to understand where we're at with these markets. What we have here in the upper left-hand corner is the Russell, and then we have the Dow future, we have the S&P future, and the NASDAQ future. And they're all at various stages of activity here, and that's that's really the theme of what we're going to be talking about here this morning. And of course, it's nice to have futures inside of WealthCharts now and inside the scanners. That's a whole different conversation for a different day, but boy, the feedback's been pretty awesome on that. So looking at where we're at with this, though, the Russell is extremely strong. You'll see the champion trend is strong. The champion cross is strong. We're pulling back in and coming back out, pulling back in, coming out. You'll see trend channel down below is looking, very good there as well. So everything is very bullish here. You see a lot of activity down below here. And most importantly, this is the TRP tool. So this is one of my primary tools outside of. There's three things that are important to me: the Champion Trend Pack, the TRP, and the ITP. Champion Trend Pack comes with WealthCharts, of course. And then there's the TRP, which is basically one of those tools that's available for everybody. It's not one of my super crazy advanced tools. It's a very straightforward set of tools. And so looking at this from the Trade Rescue perspective, to the TRP, one of the first things I'm looking for is for us to be above the zero line and pulling away for bullishness. I love to see the little TRP, buys here as well. So you see we had that, and we fired off and haven't looked back. This is sitting way up here very nicely, well above the zero line. Okay, so remember that. Russell, very strong since it's rebalancing. Then we've got the Dow. Now the Dow is sitting here. It also fired off the dot. It's got the champion trend buy side, still above the trend channel, and it's coming into the champion cross and starting to come back out again. And also, it's doing that where it's breaking above a sell side yellow dot. Now, why is that important? If you know my TRP work, we love to see that kind of thing. A pullback in a uptrend where we break right back up above that, that's a fresh buy signal. So to recap so far, we're basically buy side Russell, we're buy side Dow here with lots of recent re-entry buy side, and then we look down here on the TRP. It too is holding in very well. Now it's pulled back a little bit, as we can see on the TRP, but it's still well above that zero, and anything above that zero line is very bullish. It's important to go ahead and keep that in mind, and we'll continue to show you why here in a moment. So then now let's go look at the S&P. So as we take a look at the S&P, now this is a little bit different. This is very bullish. It went ahead and had a sell side. It did not break back above that sell side. It did not break back above that sell side. So the sell side went ahead and has actually followed through here, as we can see, to the downside. And we take a look at this situation. Wow, we're below the champion trend. We're basically below the channel. We are below the champion cross, okay? And so and now we're back to the zero line here. So if this starts crossing back over below, this could get much more bearish, all right? So let's recap so far. Russell, very strong. Dow, very strong. Getting kind of weak here, and also well below the champion cross. So the only thing, or the champion trend. So the only thing I'm looking for, and the champion cross for that matter, is basically short-term sells on that side. Now the Nasdaq, of course, the Nasdaq is basically looking like the S&P, only worse. So the S&P had the buy side over here, great, it rallied up. Then it had the sell side that did not get right back above it, so it's not a fresh buy. So it's following through on the sell side here. Notice down below on the TRP crossover, we actually did cross over that zero line. And why is this so important? Why am I even focusing on that silly little crossover? Because when we cross over to the upside, that can lead to huge moves to the upside. We cross over to the downside, that can lead to significant moves to the downside. So to recap, Russell with the three balancing very strong. Dow still, the S&P, getting weaker, hasn't quite crossed over on its TRP crossover, and is now under some resistance, whereas we're still nicely above support on the first two. And then the NASDAQ, of course, has taken it the worst with the tech sector, and it's right below here. And so what we're going to be watching, the reason why I wanted you to see this, because I want you to be able to watch all four of these instruments. What we're basically looking for, will these two start to come down, and then this whole thing can accelerate to the downside? Or will these two, the S&P and the NASDAQ, start to have a massive recovery back up, pushing back into the direction here, which will lead to some huge short covering up and long side opportunities and continuations back into the direction with the stronger ones. That's why I wanted to walk through it. It was a long way to do that, but show it a few simple things. What's happening, we're breaking back up there, and why is that important? Because we look above, just take a look here. See, in the uptrend, look at that. So when you're in an uptrend, a short-term, sell in an uptrend, as you guys know from my teachings, that's actually a fresh re-entry buy. Anybody who knows my work, that's classic Rob Hoffman buy activity right there, right? And so sure enough, right, it broke above that line and then triggered it right back off. Okay, so we're seeing that again on the Dow over here. And it's the same thing on the NASDAQ right here. In that uptrend, you see all that green over here. We had that short-term sell signal. You break right back above that, and you had all these reverse IRB buys that I taught you recently. You break back above that, boom, right back to the upside. Okay, well, so now with all this, the real key is, are we going to hold, are we going to get basically this NASDAQ to immediately start to reverse here before it does any more damage? And let me pull this back over here for you. And then the S&P bounce, off of this area. So this bounces, this recovers quickly, and then these all start to push up together, which, like I said, leads to some great long side opportunities. Or are the other two going to start coming down here? So it's important that you watch all four of these indices and see what two are going to meet the other two. Will the Russell and the Dow come to meet the S&P and the NASDAQ? Or, vice versa, will the S&P and NASDAQ come back to meet the Dow and the Russell? This is what's super important, and some very straightforward, tools there that you can use to look at it, whether it's the Champion Trend Pack that we identified up above, or like the TRP and the buy-sell dots in the TRP down below. There's a whole bunch of other features with that, but we're not here to talk about that today. Although if you do want to learn more about the TRP, email us at support@becomebettertrader.com and let us know, and maybe we do a class on it. But the point for today is that there's some very straightforward approaches to look at what the tail of these four markets, which two are going to meet the other two. I cannot emphasize that enough. That is going to be almost the singular thing I'm looking at going into this coming week ahead to lead to some powerful trading opportunities for myself. Okay, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in upcoming videos. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.